You are signaling people to disrespect you before you even speak. Not because there's something wrong with you, it's in the micro habits and behaviors you do every single day that signal people that it's okay to disrespect you and walk all over you. Whether it's in dating or friendship or work, you feel like people are not treating you the way you deserve, giving you the credit you deserve, and are completely overlooking you. So I'm going to walk you through the exact steps and the overnight shift that you can make that will finally make people respect. Let me dismantle the biggest lie about respect to begin with, because the thing is, it feels personal, but it's really not. Sometimes you're like, why me? What am I doing wrong? Why am I the one that's overlooked? Or why don't they give that same treatment and same overlooking to other people? Why do they not see my worth? And it's so infuriating when you keep experiencing that feeling over and over again. Trust me, I've been there. Truth most women never get told is people don't wake up in the morning and be like, okay, who am I going to disrespect today? They don't consciously decide, you know what, you're my target. They respond automatically and subconsciously to energy, access, and consistency, which means disrespect is not emotional and it's also not personal, it's behavioral. And this is how you know. If the same patterns seem to show up in multiple areas of your life, in work, in friendships, in relationships, and dating, it's not a coincidence or bad luck or that your worth is just not good enough or there's something about you. It's the system you're operating from, and the way that you're living your life is signaling to people that it's okay for them to walk all over you and disrespect you, and you naturally become a magnet to that, which is why it happens across several areas, even though there's probably one or two that are very predominant for you and where it's clear. The biggest clue is the fact that the person who disrespects you respects other people. You've literally seen them treat other people better and give other people the respect that you are wanting to get from them, because they have the ability to be respectful. I have a couple of examples of what this might look like in a few areas of your life, so I'm going to break them down because you're probably already going to know what the key example is, but you might also notice this in other areas for yourself. So at work, you know you're competent, you know you're reliable, you know you're good at your job, but your ideas get skipped, your workload increases, you're expected to just help out more than everybody else, or just stay late, or pick up phone calls way out with working hours, or other people get more credit when you're putting in equal effort. And dating, maybe you're with someone likes you, they never plan dates properly, they keep things very vague, they treat you as optional and everything with you is last minute, even though they don't do that with other women or other people they've dated in the past. In friendships, you're always the one who checks in, accommodates, listens, rearranges, but somehow you are always still the last priority. And the confusing part is you're usually not doing anything wrong on the surface. You are a smart person, you're a kind person, you're emotionally aware, and so it feels super personal. But the reframe that changes everything is if it keeps happening in the same room just with different people and you keep experiencing it over and over and over again, it is the signals you're sending, which we are about to fully go into. This is why two women can behave almost the exact same on the outside, but one of them seems to get respected instantly and the other one is slowly taken for granted. So let's talk about what small behaviors you're doing that signal availability versus value. This is something that's quite uncomfortable to talk about, but it's so powerful. High availability is subconsciously perceived as low value. Not because you're low value, but humans, we are literally wired to value what is scarce. That's why with like luxury marketing, look at, Hermes bags where you have to sign up to the wait list to get it, or things that are limited edition and they only have a certain number when it comes to releases. We are wired to see that as more valuable. And usually we respect the things that we find more valuable. What is rare is protected and what is abundant is taken for granted. That is just standard. And the thing is, people are reading your ability based on the way you respond to things and act in everyday situations. They're not doing it on purpose, they're not actively taking notes, but they are subconsciously clocking how easy do you bend, how fast do you respond, how much access do you give people to you without any effort required, how often do you override yourself in order to keep peace. And to get a little bit more specific, it actually shows up in like micro habits that you've probably experienced yourself doing before. You're replying instantly every single time. You're that friend that's like always, the friend where you're texting and then before you even finish texting, they are just immediately in the chat waiting for your response. They're going to answer immediately. You laugh things off that didn't actually feel funny and felt a little bit insulting because you were too awkward to pull people up on it. Over explaining and over justifying simple decisions to other people that you make. Staying overly pleasant even when you're annoyed, like something really bothers you, but you're just like, you know what? I'll be annoyed on the inside and I'm gonna go get mad about this later when I go home, but you literally just choose to act like nothing happened on the outside, and then letting these small things slide repeatedly. You definitely probably see yourself in one of these things if you feel like you're constantly getting disrespected. And I want to be very, very clear here, none of these are signs you're a bad person or you're weak or you're not good enough. It is so normal to do this, but they just become a problem when they're constant and unconditional, and the reason you have to change them is not because you're bad or wrong, just because the subconscious signaling they are giving to other people is why people feel so comfortable walking all over you, and sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. You're teaching people constantly, access to me is unlimited. I'll always be there. I'll always pick up. And that is just not going to work anymore if you want people to seriously respect you and, with the whole high value perception, think that access to you is exclusive and scarce. Now, I want to break something down that a lot of people get very confused about when they're going on this journey and they're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can be a bitch. You don't have to be. Kindness and self-abandonment are two different things. You can very much be a kind person and not let people walk all over you and disrespect you and stop doing all these habits, because people think that they are self-abandonment is actually, oh, I'm just being nice, I'm just being giving, but it's not. It's just an excuse you are using so you don't have to face the fact that you're responsible for it. And I'm not saying that in a way to shame you. Kindness is choosing generosity. Self-abandonment is choosing others at your own expense. You can be kind and still say you're not available. You can be kind and still hold standards. You can be kind and still change your behavior. And you can be kind and pull back when something doesn't sit right. Niceness without any limitation does not create respect in any way. It creates entitlement. That truth is, people don't respect kindness, unfortunately. They respect limited access. And it's such an unfair thing because you could be the nicest person in the room. It might make people like you and it might make you a great person to be around, but it doesn't mean you're going to get respected because people subconsciously use and push as much as other people will let them. Something that I wish more people knew who are online and they're like, oh, you need to stop, boundaries and standards just make you stuck up and blah, blah, blah. It's so wrong. High self-respect and growing your self-worth makes you an objectively better person. And I say this because every single person in my life who has hated on me, who has tried to put me down, has always been insecure. They've always done something negative so they could pedestalize themselves to feel better about themselves. But if they had high self-worth and high self-respect, then they would not feel the need to do that. And so never feel like you having standards and boundaries is about you becoming a bitch. It's not about becoming a bitch. It's literally about understanding that the more you fill your own cup up, the more you respect yourself, and therefore you're not just there to, give out and be walked over by other people. You can use that fill cup to be a better friend, a better partner, a better asset to the world. And it often makes you a lot kinder because people who love themselves radiate the most love into the world. So let's just clear that up. Hatefulness is always rooted in insecurity and low self-respect. So having self-respect is important. Which takes me on to my next point. Intelligence, effort, and niceness don't automatically earn respect. Again, this sucks, but it's just how it is. Now this one really hits a lot of high-achieving women like myself. If you were taught, if I'm smart enough, if I work hard enough, if I'm kind enough, my life will go better. And that is a belief that's caused a lot of negativity in your future, not because there was anything wrong with you learning that, because of course being a kind, smart, hardworking person is an amazing thing to be and will get you far in life. However, it is not the exchange for respect. You think that life rewards you for your intention, for having a good heart, but the honest truth is you don't get rewarded for your intentions, you get rewarded for perception. People's perception of you. How people perceive you is rewarded with respect. And the current perception is that you have no boundaries and you're happy to do anything and give all of your time without pushback. So your good intentions don't matter when it comes to respect because they can treat you like a doormat even if you're a saint, simply just because you are allowing them to walk over you. You're laying yourself out to be that doormat. The thing that a lot of people get wrong is thinking that respect is a reward system. Intelligent, capable, empathetic, reliable people will be rewarded with respect. It's not true. They might get rewarded with certain things in life because they are great qualities to have, but it doesn't override people-pleasing, inconsistent standards, and lack of boundaries. Effort earns results, but standards earn respect. It's about becoming clearer and respecting yourself so much that people have no choice but to meet you where you want to be met. They either rise to meet your standards or they can distance themselves from you so you're no longer having all these low effort people in your life. And you can literally weed out the people who don't want to treat you how you're going to be treated. And the beauty of learning this work, you will repel low effort people, because when you start exuding that, anyone you meet from this point onwards, they're not coming near you, because if they can't meet it, what's the point? You're going to go near somebody else who gives those subtle cues that you are giving right now that they can be walked over. Now, when we talk about training people, we're going to train people to respect you. What does that actually mean? When people hear train other people to respect you, make other people respect you, they think it's about manipulation, and it's really not. It's not about control. This is not about controlling other people. It's about controlling the access to yourself and being consistent with it. Setting the tone with what you correct, what level of access you have with your actions now, what you tolerate. And the most important part is we're doing it through the little subconscious signals and your actual action, because people don't always respond to words, they respond to actions. When the environment and the tone and the access changes, they are more likely to be like, oh, they're serious about this, and then adjust, as opposed to you just saying, okay, from this point onwards, don't ask me that because I respect myself from now on. But then you're still signaling the same cues and you're still letting yourself be walked over. No one's going to take you seriously. So your body, your tone, and your reactions all communicate things. So one of these things is nervous laughter. Laughing in uncomfortable situations instead of correcting the discomfort. Softening your voice when you're asserting how you communicate it. If you're asking someone to do something and you're trying to be assertive and you're like, maybe if it's okay, please, like if you don't mind and it's not a big deal. You know, these little things that we do where we're like, oh, I'm so sorry to be a bother, but you're not bothering anyone, you're literally doing your job. Or you're literally just asking for something very simple, but you are already creating this idea that you are an inconvenience before you do it. Over justifying your boundaries. So someone says, hey, are you free on Thursday? And you're like, no, but oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's just I've got this on and I had it planned for weeks. And if I did, no, I'm not available. That's fine to just say as it is as well. Or let me check and get back to you. It doesn't have to be this big over justification. Or when you answer somebody's message late, maybe you took a few days because you had a lot on, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I'm answering so late and blah, 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 and I had this on and I had that on. Or you could just reply. It's gonna give the same effect anyway, but you're giving them this impression that you should be overly available. And so when you're not overly available, you're justifying it because, oh, they should expect that you would be. And also staying overly warm when you're super uncomfortable. This is something that also just signals, you know, I'm just gonna let you do and say whatever, even when I'm uncomfortable, and that's okay. Once again, just being a doormat. So these are all the little things that contribute to how it's coming across and people thinking that it's okay to disrespect you. They're not flaws, they're just signals. And the reason that talking is not going to change the behavior, the reason that just being like, hey, this is what I'm not doing anymore is not going to change it, is because you can only actually change behaviors through consequences, reduced access, and different energy. You cannot argue your way into respect. You cannot make anybody respect you by begging them to see your value, because you putting that energy into that begging still shows them that the power is in their hands. If you move your way into it and you show, okay, if this is not met, access is reduced, and you're showing, if this makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to remove myself, you are literally showing them they only have the option, if they want to be around you, they want to keep you, to value you and to respect you. Which now takes us on to what I'm sure you've all been waiting for, which is the overnight shift, the actionable step that you need to take to become more respected. This is not anything super scary. We are not going full confrontational, cutting everybody off. It's broken into 5 simple steps. I like to call them the 5 overnight rules, literal felt changes that you are going to make, and people are going to be like, oh, okay, this is how I need to be around this person from now on, and they are going to start to respect you. The first thing is removing the first layer of availability. You want to just start by moving one layer of availability to them. You're almost like purposely trying to let them down a little bit, not to be mean, but just to set the tone right now that instant availability is not your style anymore. So for example, even if you're available right away, take a little longer before you get back to people's text messages. Have fewer emotional explanations. When you do take longer to get back to someone, or you can't do something, be okay stating the thing without going into detail about why. And less volunteering. If they're always looking for someone to stay late or go out in the lunch runs when it comes to your work, or they're always looking for the person to plan every single thing in your friend group, don't always be the first person to put your hand up. Just take that initial layer away, where it's not anything crazy that people are like, wow, like she's so different, what the hell is going on? It's just being like, okay, I'm pulling back a little bit. I'm not always just available right at your doorstep. Step number 2 is stop correcting people's discomfort. If someone feels awkward because you didn't over-explain or you weren't overly available, you let them feel awkward. The ball is in your court now, not to over-explain, but to be like, it's your fault that you feel weird about this, because I am not just automatically available to you. You don't have to fill the silence. They ask you to do something and you say, no, I'm not available, and then there's silence. You don't need to jump in to give a 5-point presentation about why. They don't automatically get that access to you. They're not automatically owed it. So you don't have to be the one that feels awkward and jumps in to fill the silence, over explain your no, or change your no to a yes and backtrack, or justify, why you said that. 3 is very much learning how to match energy instead of trying to manage it. You cannot manage what somebody else gives to you, but if you feel like they're giving you less than you're giving them, you can match it. It's mirroring effort, and you basically stop compensating. So if somebody is vague, you don't have to chase clarity. If someone gives you low effort, you don't increase yours hoping that they will increase theirs in return. If someone delays, you don't jump in to rescue the dynamic. And it's not about just becoming a bare minimum person, it's about realizing that things have to go both ways when it comes to friendships and relationships. Only when I ran out of storage right in the middle of it, it's okay because I'm almost done. Okay, so step number 4 is something that I've spoke about in a million videos before, but it's learning how to emotionally control yourself and pause before reacting. You will realize a lot of the little subconscious cues you do come from you just jumping in without thinking about things first. You need to have high self-respecting energy, which pauses. That obviously comes with the not replying instantly type thing, but then when you're asked to volunteer for something, not just immediately being like, yes, and then your mind hasn't even thought about it before your mouth spoke. Or you don't jump to reassure someone, or don't jump to over justify. A lot of the little subconscious signals all just come from that lack of pausing and thinking before you speak, and having a little bit of emotional regulation and being like, is this a good idea? Because that will save you the regret and the resent that you have for saying yes to things and going forward for things that are causing you to have these results you don't want to have. And step number 5 is, once you have done these little pullbacks, just these small first layer pullbacks, then observe. This kind of gives people a test. See what happens. Do they step up? Do they adjust? Or do people disappear? Or do people push back? And this is going to really help you understand who is maybe going to be siphoned out and removed from your life in this process. You need to remember when you're doing it that you are not doing anything wrong by wanting the same level of respect that other people have. Just remember that people are not going to respect you because you changed them. They're respecting you because you changed the conditions in which they get access to you. And this shift can genuinely happen overnight just by implementing these rules that I told you. Type them on your notes, screenshot them, put them as your lock screen, recite them in the morning. And great news, this is going to be a part of a self-respect series where I'm going to be making loads more videos on this. So if you are more worried about what to do next, what boundaries to set, I'm going to have all of that done for you. So please subscribe. Of course, don't forget to get your free workbook and resources down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.